Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Intuitive Energy Forecast for March 2nd, 2022. I'm Arlene Grace, a intuitive coach, master numerologist, and channel. So it's an interesting energy today. It feels like flow, but there are many layers to this energy today. So we've moved into March, and March is a 9 energy. And so 9 energy is all about completions. It's all about endings. It's all about surrender and letting go. And it's this beautiful opportunity to graduate to the next level, whether that's the next level of your business or the next level of love, the next level in your partnership, the next level of whatever it is that you're intending upon, whatever it is that you desire, right? And in this, there's this letting go. We must let go in order to create the space to receive that, to receive the idea, to receive the thought. And so sometimes it can be a perception, a belief, an idea, a belief that you can't have what you want, and shifting that into I'm willing to believe. I'm willing to believe that I can have the love that I desire, right? And in that, there's this letting go of an aspect of you, or this belief and this pattern that doesn't necessarily serve you. And as I feel into this energy, I've been speaking about it, it feels as though we're coming into simplicity. That in a world full of chaos, whether that is what you are seeing and experiencing outside, or what it is that you're experiencing in your own personal life, there's this inspiration to really simplify your life and to come back to the core of you, the essence of you, to come to really know you in this beautiful energy, because you're not who you were. Right? You're not who you were 2 years ago. You're not who you were last week. In fact, every day there's this opportunity to transform. And the mood for this month, it feels as though it's going to be very emotionally charged, that there's this beautiful opportunity to create and to use our emotions to do that, right? Our emotional landscape, our emotional mastery. This, what does it feel like to have what I want? If I want wealth, what does that feel like in my body? And actually amplifying that within your own heart and moving that out. Without the emotional mastery, we are at the whim of the world, right? We're at the whim of everything that's happening. And so as I was feeling into the energy, I started feeling it last night, and it showed me part of a vision. And then this morning it showed me the rest. And I love it. It's extraordinary because it begins with the sun. So imagine that the sun is just shining so brightly, and imagine that the sun is love. And so the sun is shining and it's beaming, and it's, of course, the heat is now melting the snow on the ice caps of these mountains. And as the snow melts, the water starts to trickle, of course. It starts to trickle down the mountain. And you can see places where, where it's steeper, it runs faster. Where it's, more of an even plane, it starts to slow down. You can see that as the water is starting to move down the mountain, that it's actually watering some of the grass, some of the bush, some of the trees. It's watering some and not others. That when it continues to flow, when there's a rock, when there's a boulder where it's impeded, the water doesn't try to climb it. The water simply continues to just flow and move around it, right? And it continues to just flow all the way down to the base of the mountain, and building as it connects with more water, more momentum, more streams of flow connecting together until they all come down to the sea. And so this water is now flowing down into the sea, and it takes me down to the bottom of the sea. And at the bottom of the sea, you can see all of the life there. You can see the whales, you can see dolphins, you can see fish, you can see, the plant life that's there. And there's this rumbling, and there's this quake, right? There's this earthquake beneath the sea. And it creates this tremor. And now in this tremor, you can see that the water now starts to shift. The landscape of the bottom of the sea starts to shift. And you can see that the water on the other side starts to draw back. As I look over, there's another island, right? And there's an island here, and it's full of people, it's full of wildlife. There are birds, animals, humans. And you can see the wildlife feel instinctually that something is amiss. And you start to see the birds fly off, and they start to fly across the sea, and they start to fly wherever they're going. They fly to the other side, to the mountain. They fly away from whatever is they're feeling instinctually. They go in a different direction. And you can see the wildlife is now moving in the direction of higher land. And so they're moving away from the sea because they instinctually know, they can just feel it. They're connected. Everything here is connected, right? And some humans instinctually feel, oh, something is amiss. What's happening? Is it going to rain? Is there going to be a storm? What am I feeling? And so some are inspired and they start to move. They go home, they go to higher land, whatever. They're just moving away from the sea. And the sea now starts to draw back. And there are some that are playing in the water, they're swimming, they're fishing, they're doing the things. And you can see that there's more and more of the sand, the bottom of the sea, that's starting to show because the water is drawing back. And so some are seeing this and they're leaving the sea, and some others are like, ooh, what's happening? And they start pulling out their phone and they start to be distracted by what's happening. And so they want to get it on social media. They want to get it on their IG story. They want to do all of the things. And they're paying attention to that rather than their own intuition, their own instinct. They're so focused on what they see. And there's a clash. And the water now rushes back towards them and it begins to flood the island. Now, some are swept off into the sea, some boats are overturned, some people lose their phones, some animals are swept away, some may not have survived, right? And in this, there's so many different stories or so many different metaphors that are showing up. That one, the sun being love, it doesn't judge anything. It's not judging those who are trying to get things on their story. It's simply loving everything, everyone. And you can see that everyone is actually connected. Everyone's connected to the birds, to the animals, to the land, to the sea, that instinctually you can feel. Humans have this feeling of when it is time to go, right? Instinctually, we know. It's just sometimes we pay attention to what we see more than what we feel within us. And as the water was trickling down, because the energy of today is a 2 and 8 of spades, right? 2 is really about communion. It's about connection. It's about coming into collaboration with one another, but it's also about opposites. It's about man, woman. It's about hot, cold. It's about black, white. It's about destruction, creation, and where you want to play in that space. And it's interesting because you can see that as the water is trickling down the mountain, that some plants are getting fed water and some aren't. But the ones that aren't in judgment. They're not saying, hey, well, what about me? Oh my God, I'm in lack. What the hell? What's happened? Why can't I have some water? You don't see any of that judgment. You don't see the plants are focused on, well, how come they can have it, but not me? They simply trust that they will receive the water, right? They just trust that they will receive the sun. They just trust the conditions that they're in, right? And so there is, yes, there is sun, there is dark, there is water, there is none, there is food, there is no food, all of these things. And yet the plant, the wildlife, the trees, they're not chasing it. They're in trust. And you can see how the energy of the two is really allowing for us to become more aware of our own intuition, our own instincts. What has always been within us is being invited to come alive and to come into this place of where you are willing to trust those intuitive nudges, that you are willing to see that when there are boulders, when there are hills, when there are mountains, that there is no mountain, that is actually what is in our mind, that we are the ones that are judging. Humans judge, not the sun, not God, not creator. It's humans that have been conditioned to judge one another, to judge whether or not they're in lack or if they're in abundance, or what's happening in the world because of the mechanism of the brain. The brain is the decider of, oh, I see that it's raining over there, not over here. And that makes me feel what? Oh, it makes me feel as though, I feel sorry for those plants over there because those plants over there aren't getting any sun, are getting any water, and now they're going to die. How do we know that? Right? And you can see how many of us are focused so much on what we are seeing rather than what we are intuitively feeling. With the Eight of Spades, there's this beautiful opportunity to move into momentum, with the simplicity, right? So in conjunction with this 9 energy coming into simplicity of, am I willing to believe everything that I see? Am I willing to believe everything that I'm told? Or am I willing to feel into my own intuition to decide what is true for me? And am I willing to move on behalf of that? Am I willing to come into the power of that? Because you'll see today that there will be this playing out of many dynamics of control, of power with this energy today, right? This polarity, again, this freedom and control, whether that's within you or within your environment. Pay attention to what you see in your social media, because what you see in your social media is going to be a great reflection of what you're focused on. And so your invitation today is to focus on you, to focus on your own intuition, to focus on what it is that you desire, to focus on what is it that you want. Today's energy is this energy where we can really move into this place of, we are so focused on doing the things, doing the work, making the money, that we get caught up in the workaholic energy. And we forget our own basic desires to play, to have fun, to connect with those that we love, to be in partnership. We came here to live a life, not to work for it. And so that's your invitation today. Your invitation is to live your life, not work for it. And ask yourself, well, what is it that I'm coming to simplify? What am I coming to create space for? What is fun for me? What is joyful for me? What does living mean for me? Beautiful. Questions, comments, please feel free to share, and I will be happy to respond. Next week, we have a 5-day free masterclass, 5-day free miracles masterclass that I am inviting you all to join. And it is with Joy Kingsborough. It is with the Mindshift LLC team, and it's going to be extraordinary. The link will be posted below and in my link tree if you're on Instagram. And I would love to see you there and connect with you there. Beautiful. Wishing you all the most amazing day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.